seen in this one, and what should Kaushik do? Stay put or book profits?
Well, I think you should definitely look to stay put. Now, there are a lot of positive points for Reliance Industries which one has to understand. So, it's the contra behavior and the nature of the stock with respect to the market. Whenever we require, large cap names to try and fire up and participate, Reliance tends to be one of the few stocks which, tends to oblige in that front. So there are a lot of positives in that regards. The stock is heading towards a fresh breakout, around the 2750 mark for itself. And we've seen this historically as a pattern for Reliance, that whenever the stock has given a lifetime breakout after, 3-4 quarters of consolidation, it's given a return of at least 10% further from those levels in a matter of 3 to 4 months for itself. Same was the case in 2020 second half and 2021 as well. So I'm expecting something similar to happen for Reliance Industries even going forward.
Ashwin, coming to you, we have a query on the logistics stocks front. VRL Logistics, Nafas from Bangalore has bought 300 shares at an average price of 494 rupees per share. Should they continue to hold for a year, or should they be shifting to some other logistics stocks?
Which company did you mention?
VRL Logistics.
I think VRL Logistics can be held on. I think currently from the management commentary, it is very clear that FY23 is going to be a lot better. Overall, post COVID, I think normalcy has set in. And I would not be surprised that in terms of earnings, in terms of revenue, the company should do well. So I think, the investor can give about 6 to 12 months, then I think he could definitely expect a decent risk reward. Prospects for the logistic industry are definitely looking bright, considering that this year GDP is going to grow by 8 to 9%, and this being a economically a largely macro driven sector, logistic companies should do well. So I would suggest him to hold on.
Jay from Chennai, and he's written to us asking about short-term target for Deepak Nitrite. He wants to know about the technical view on this particular counter. Kunal, could you help with the target for Deepak Nitrite, and how is the stock looking to you?
So again, depending on your buy price, I would suggest 2170 as a stop loss for the trade. And I think if the stock doesn't break this 2170 mark, and by that I mean if it doesn't close below the 2170 mark on the spot levels, you can expect the stock to make a comeback again to at least 2400. So that should be a decent upside and a good risk reward from current levels.
Okay. Avinash, we have a query coming in from Rahul Sangvi. They're holding 160 shares of Mindtree at 4,100 for long term. Should they be averaging, or what should they be doing with the stock currently?
I think recently, the Q4 numbers which came out from Mindtree were definitely positive, not only on the margin, but even on the business front. My sense is, I think if they are looking at the next 12 to 18 months, IT is definitely a story which can bounce back. In the very near term, sentiments have become negative largely because of, attrition issues. But I think if you see the numbers of Mindtree, they were significantly better than frontline companies like Infosys or TCS. So I would believe that, despite the fact that the stock has corrected post the Q4 numbers, the management commentary was quite strong. So I think he can definitely, average a little more, even at the current odd levels, but keep a time frame of at least 12 to 15 months. By that time, I think a decent risk reward could be, achievable.
This one's for you, Avinash, and Aarti is given 3 stocks. Out of these 3 stocks, she wants to know 2 stocks that she can invest for the longer term. One is Latent View, one is Affle India, and Praj Industries. Which of these 2 counters do you think that one can look to invest right now for the longer term?
Yeah, I think, within the 3 stocks, I think Praj Industries looks quite interesting, and Latent View is the second company. I think both these companies have shot up significantly. My sense is that, if the investor can obviously look out for any market corrections and use the dip to accumulate these stocks, then I think the next 2 years are going to be extremely promising for both Praj as well as Latent View. Praj, I think, is going to be a big beneficiary of the ethanol story, and which is, I think, clearly reflected in its order book. So I would believe that these 2 companies, she could accumulate in her portfolio, which can give her a kind of a reasonably good risk reward.
Kunal, we have a query coming in from Mr. Bhandari on Sipla. They're holding Sipla at levels of around 1,040 per share. For a short-term period, means 1 to 2 months, what should they be doing with the stock?
I would suggest to hold on. Now, I believe Pharma Index is getting into a consolidation, but my sense is that over the next 1 to 2 months, there should be a strong round of a breakout. Now, if you look at the other charts for the pharma names, I was looking at the charts for Lupin, Aurobindo Pharma, Sun Pharma. These stocks are also trying to make a strong comeback for themselves, breaking out of multi-week consolidation and correction for themselves. So it augurs very well that possibly pharma index can outperform over the next 1 to 2 months. And I think in that aspect, Sipla is one of the top candidates to try and take the baton forward from current levels. So if you're holding on from 1040 odd levels, I would suggest to hold on. Maybe if the stock corrects to 980, that could be a good level where you can look to average further.
Okay, this next query is from Poonam, and she's asked us two queries, but I'll take the one that she's asking on Infosys, and she wants to know whether she can buy Infosys right now at current levels or wait for some more correction. What's your take, Kunal?
I would suggest to buy in Infosys at current levels. Now, there are a lot of parameters where, so of course on the news flow front, it's not attractive, for the stock, but then good news, good price, they don't come, together. So I think at current levels, when I look at the charts, the RSIs are extremely oversold. On the daily time frame, the stock has hit back towards previous major supports of 1550, 1575, which was, I think, seen last almost 12 months back for the stock price. So in terms of price, risk, reward, I believe it's a good time to enter the stock at current levels.
Avinash, we have a query coming in from Achal Jain. She wants to know, should she be applying for Ionos Solutions OFS, or should she look to buy in the open market? What is it looking fundamentally on terms of this stock for a 1 year period, next 1 year? What could we be seeing in terms of this?
See, I think clearly whenever any company makes an OFS, you see a major price correction. And I think in this case, it's a large block of 14-15%, and that too at a steep discount to the market price. So I would believe that, I think if the investor is willing enough to give 12 to 15 months, definitely, one could expect a reasonably good reward if she buys from the secondary market. More importantly, just to tell you, the company makes ABS, which is a very premium polymer, which only two companies in India make. One is Ineos, and the second one is Pansali Engineering. So I think, with the auto and the consumer durable sector doing well, definitely prospects for the next 12, 18 months look quite promising. So I think she could buy from the market, but keep a time frame of 12 to 18 months, which is quite reasonable.
This one is coming in from actually Vishwanath has asked about Infosys, and Kunal just answered about Infosys in the previous query itself, saying that yes, right now is the right time to look to buy Infosys. This one is coming in from Puneet, and he's saying that he's bought a BLS International at a level of 335 rupees per share, and he said that he just bought it yesterday, but he wants to know what sort of a target can he keep in mind, Kunal, for this one, and he's asking for 1 week target. Do you think that you can help with that one?
I think 1 week could be too short a time frame for BLS International, because there are 2 points. One is that the stock has already had a fantastic run over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So I think this month itself, the stock has given returns of more than 40-43%. And given the kind of market circumstances, I think it's a good return for a short-term play for a stock like BLS. But when I look at the charts on the longer-term time frame, it's now confirmed a breakout of a multi-year breakout point, which is around 300 levels, 300, 305 for itself. So if you can extend your time horizon and not look at it as a short-term play, then I think it makes sense to hold on to the stock. But if you're sticking to a 1 week view, then I believe 340, 342 could be a good level where you can look to book profits.
Kunal, I'm going to come to you again. Amy has sold April futures of natural gas at 590. Should she be booking profits now?
Apologies, don't track the asset class.
Okay. Any other, Avinash, any view on that?
In fact, I also don't track gas futures, so I won't be able to comment.
All right, let me take this one then. This one is coming from Sunil G. He's writing to us from Muscat, and he wants an advice on Vinita Organics. He's holding it since the last 10 years. He had purchased about 1,000 shares at a price of 56 rupees per share. Now he wants to know whether he should book profits, hold on to it, or book partial profits. What's your take on this one? Avinash, given that he's a long-term investor, and I believe he can continue to hold on to it, but nevertheless, what should his strategy be now with Vinita Organics holding since 10 years at a price of 56 rupees per share?
Yeah, first of all, I think I would like to congratulate him, because this is the kind of compounding which happens in equities if you hold on to equities for a very long period. Coming to Vinita Organics, I think since his average cost is very low, I think for him, he's already deep in the money for this investment. I would suggest that he should hold on. My sense is that over the next 2 years, the company has already gone in for another expansion, and the company is a very low leveraged company. So most of the internal accruals have been used for expansion, and typically, the kind of product the company makes, it largely exports to the US markets, where demand still continues to be solid. So my sense is that we continue to hold on as long as the earnings growth story continues and overall demand prospects continue to be positive. So I think unless he requires money urgently, there's no need for him to book out. Continue to hold on because I believe the next 12 to 18 months should also be equally stronger for the company.
Okay. Kunal, coming to you, Vimla wants to know about Paytm. Is that a good stock to enter at current levels? Any view on that with a 1 year term time period that she has?
See, I've been very vocal on Paytm over the last 1 month, specifically when the stock was at 520, 30 levels, where I remember specifically that there was a lot of negative news flow for the stock price, but the prices were at a very, very attractive point. Now, from those levels, the stock has moved up, I think 25%, to 670, 660 levels where it's currently trading. So it's already given that initial advantage, from a short-term trading play. I would suggest that you can buy in 2 tranches. You can buy at current levels. And I think keep some powder dry in case if there is any further correction and the stock comes closer to 600 mark or slightly lower than that, that could be a good point where you can look to average. But I believe 550 or 530 levels, which was the previous low, should be a stop loss for the trade.
Okay, this one is from Mr. P.R. Periyasamy, and he's asking about Tata Power, wants to know whether he can enter this particular counter at current market price for the longer term. What's your take on this one, Avinash? Tata Power, do you think that it still makes sense to buy this right now for the longer term?
I think, Cheryl, Tata Power should definitely benefit because recently the kind of deal they did with BlackRock is going to give them a good entry point in the solar and renewable energy space. If the investor is willing to give at least the next 2 years, definitely Tata Power looks well positioned. First of all, good news on the power generation side, they've been able to increase their power tariff prices. And I think in the EV infrastructure and the solar space, I think the company is pretty confident that over the next 2 years, they should be able to build a very significant portfolio. So if you have a 2-year portfolio, definitely buy it on every decline. This is definitely a company which will be a very solid company in the power generation and the electric vehicle infrastructure.
Avinash, I'm going to come to you again. We have a query on Jubilant Foodworks from Dheeraj Bhagwan. He's bought in 64 shares of Jubilant Foodworks at 3,300. Now, obviously, with the stock split, his shares are going to become almost 320 shares. So what should he be doing with Jubilant Foodworks? Should he be holding it with a long-term view?
My guess is really, post the split, definitely I think liquidity will increase. And I think my guess is that QSR as a consumption story is going pretty strong. We expect that over the next 1 to 2 years, all the players in this segment to do well. Considering the fact that recently Jubilant Foodworks has also increased its prices, we could expect better numbers. But I think since the stock was richly valued, possibly, I think he'll have to wait for at least next 6 to 12 months to get a reasonable risk reward. But yes, I think if he has a medium-term time frame, he should continue to hold on. Medium to long-term prospects now post-COVID look quite encouraging.
Ravi, and he's saying that he's bought persistent systems at a price of 4,310 rupees per share. He wants to know about an exit price in the next 1 month for this one. Kunal, persistent systems, the buy price is 4,310 rupees per share, and we've seen persistent pressure on the IT companies. What's your take on this one, and what sort of an exit price should Ravi keep in mind?
So I think there's a trend which is playing out where the mid-cap IT stocks are getting into more selling pressure as compared to large-cap IT names. The correction the large-cap IT stocks have seemingly gotten over with in a short-term time frame. But the mid-cap IT stocks is where I believe that there could be more pain ahead. So I would suggest that if you're looking at it from a time frame of just about a month odd, then it makes sense to switch on from persistent towards stock like either Infosys or TCS at current levels. Because I believe there could be a more downside seen in persistent systems. Possibly the stock coming back to its even 3,700, 750 over the next few weeks could be a high probability for the stock.
Kunal, I'm going to come to you again. We have a query coming in from Sagar on Polyplex. He's bought in 1,500 shares at 675 rupees per share. Should they be booking profits, or is there more upside left for the stock?
I think I would sense that he would have bought probably many years back into the stock price. The stock is perched at a fantastic level for itself at 2,600, 660. For the stock. So I would suggest that if you can maybe book out partial profits over here, maybe 50%, 60% of your gains, I think that could be a good strategy because the markets are still getting into a very dicey kind of a zone. So if there is any major correction in the mid-cap names, stocks like Polyplex, etc., they can get into further legs of profit booking for themselves. So it makes sense to book out at least 50% of your profits from your existing holdings which you have.
Okay, Kunal, this one is for you, and this is on a company known as Appco Tech Industries. I'm not sure whether you track or no. This query is from Lakshman from Denmark, and he's saying that he's looking to buy this particular company at current market price for the period of 2 years. But should he go ahead with this? What's your take on it?
See, I think I remember answering this query on the stock a few days back as well, when it was at 400, 420 levels. I'd mentioned that it's an attractive buy even at those points, specifically from a medium-term to long-term play. Now the stock has jumped up to, I think, 465 or 470 levels where it's currently trading. So I think I would suggest that you should probably wait for a dip now, because the stock has run up, seemingly thick and fast in the last few trading sessions. Let the stock come back towards 420 levels, which was the initial point. I think that could be a good level where you can look to enter.
Avinash, I'm going to come to you. We have Manoj Krishna Prasad, who's holding 1,000 shares of BPCL at 450. Should they hold or sell with a long-term view?
Yeah, I think as far as BPCL is concerned, I think the big trigger for the company could come in once the strategic sale is complete. And I think hopefully in FY23 this will be done. There have been a lot of news flows regarding that large MNCs as well as some big Indian groups are planning to make bids here. So I think definitely one can hold on. There's no doubt that as normalcy comes in, the oil marketing companies should do significantly better. The only concern is if crude prices go up, then that could cut into their gross refining margin. So I think for the moment, hold on. The fair value could be around 500 to 550, and I think depending upon the bids which come in when the final bids are opened, the stock could see significant amount of re-rating based on this specific news.
All right, and with that, let's kickstart with the rapid fire segment. And this one is from Rima from Palakkad. 100 shares of Ambika Cotton purchased at an average price of 1,913 rupees per share. Wants to know buy, sell or hold for the period of 3 months is what she's looking at, Kunal.
I would suggest to book profit at current levels of 2,300 plus.
Avinash, we have Srinivasan from Chennai who wants to know about GNFC, whether they should be buying at current price.
Yeah, I think if you have a 12-month horizon, you can definitely buy it. The risk reward would be at.
Okay, this one is from Rahul, and he wants a short-term view on Chennai Petro. He's looking to play the momentum. Should he, Kunal?
Well, I think yes, you can look to play momentum, but I think a better buying price for Chennai Petro could be around this 200, 205 mark for itself.
Okay, we have the next query coming in from Dada Radhi. Avinash, he's bought Tata Steel long products at 700 and 500 shares. Should they hold or exit?
I think you should continue to hold on. I would be quite positive on the stock considering that cycle still continues.
Okay, this one is from Sushil Kumar. He has 100 shares of DLF purchased at 431 rupees per share. Wants to know whether he should exit or hold, and what sort of target should he look at for the next period of 3 to 6 months, Kunal?
I would suggest to average. If the stock comes closer to 350 mark, so over the next 1 or 2 months, that could be a good level where you can look to average. Targets on the upside could be around 550 mark for DLF.
Kunal, we have one more query on the technical front for Manappuram Finance. They bought in, Abhijit has bought 145 rupees per share at the price of that. So should they hold, average or book losses?
Well, I would suggest to shift from Manappuram towards Muthoot Finance. That's a much more better quality stock and more sustainable in terms of price trend.
Okay, R. Ganesh wants to know, can he look to buy TCS right now, Kunal?
I would suggest yes. As I mentioned earlier, Infosys and TCS could be very attractive price points at current zone.
Avinash, Purna wants to know on Happiest Mind Technologies, 100 shares they're holding at 1,400. Can they hold or sell?
I think continue to hold on. I think prospects is quite good, considering that they are in the largely opportunity space.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as the query segment. Thank you so much, Avinash, as well as Kunal, for joining us on the show, giving us a take on the HDFC twins, which I'm sure most of the viewers were keenly waiting for, as well as resolving the viewer queries. And viewers, we will be back tomorrow to take all of your queries. So don't be disheartened if we were unable to take your queries today. But with that, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But stay tuned, more on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Cash, हर खुशी के लिए काफी है।